A couple in Seoul at the end of an ordinary day. Dinner is finished. 2 laptops are still open. Laundry waits in the corner. Somewhere in the building, a child is laughing in the hallway. One of them looks up and asks, "Do you ever think about it?" They both know what it means. A child. The answer is not no. It is the answer they have given before. Maybe later. Later, when work is calmer. Later, when they have saved more. Later, when they know who would take time off, who would handle childcare, and what would happen if the baby got sick on the worst possible day. For a moment, they can picture the child. They just cannot picture where that child fits into the life they have now. And their government knows it. South Korea has spent years trying to make parenthood easier. There are cash payments, childcare support, parental leave, fertility treatment, and housing programs. The message is clear. If money is part of the problem, the country will help. And recently, something changed. South Korea's fertility rate rose from 0.72 children per woman in 2023 to 0.75 in 2024. Preliminary figures put it at 0.80 in 2025, with about 254,500 babies born. After years of decline, that matters. But it does not prove that one payment, one program, or 1 year has solved the problem. Some births may have been delayed. More couples married after the pandemic. A larger group entered the ages when people are most likely to start families. The rebound is real. So is the hesitation. Because a baby bonus can arrive in an account. A child arrives in every part of a life. Back in the apartment, the couple is not only calculating diapers, a stroller, or the hospital bill. They are imagining Monday morning. Who leaves work when childcare calls? Whose career becomes less flexible? Can they afford a home with another room? Do the grandparents live close enough to help, or only close enough for a video call? What time does childcare close? What time does work actually end? And in a culture where education can feel like a competition beginning almost at birth, what will it mean to give a child a good future? None of these questions is impossible on its own. That is what makes the decision so difficult. The problem is not one giant wall. It is 5 doors that all need to open at the same time. Money can open some of them. That should not be dismissed. Cash support can make the first months less frightening. Housing assistance can let a couple move sooner. Paid leave can protect time that would otherwise disappear. Affordable childcare can decide whether a parent stays employed or has to leave work. These are not symbolic benefits. They change real lives. And the policies themselves have changed. The first response was often a payment at birth. Then came monthly support, childcare, parental leave, housing, and flexible work. Governments have been discovering the same thing as the couple at the kitchen table. The obstacle is not located in one bill. It is spread across an entire life. Research across wealthy countries reflects that. Cash payments alone usually have modest effects, and sometimes move births forward without changing how many children people eventually have. Support that continues after birth often matters more. Childcare people can actually use, leave people can take without quietly damaging their careers, and work that can bend when family life refuses to follow a schedule. The strongest support does not only make birth cheaper. It makes the years after birth more possible. Singapore has built one of the clearest versions of that wider promise. A couple can receive a baby bonus, housing priority, healthcare support, subsidized childcare, and paid leave for both parents. This is not a government doing nothing. It is a serious attempt to make family fit more easily inside modern work. And yet Singapore's resident fertility rate was still 0.97 in 2024. Below 1 child per woman. Surveys there continue to find that many young people still hope to marry and have children. The desire has not simply disappeared. The path still asks too many parts of life to align. Hungary shows the other side of the argument. Through tax relief, subsidized loans, housing support, cash benefits, and long parental leave, fertility did rise from the lows of the early 2010s. So policy can matter. Especially when it is large, long-term, and connected to something as fundamental as housing. But even then, the effect depends on who qualifies, whose employment is secure enough to claim the support, and whether the people carrying the most uncertainty can reach it. The real divide is not between countries that pay and countries that do not. It is between lowering one cost and reducing the conflict across an entire life. Because some of the things the sole couple is waiting for cannot be deposited into an account. A government cannot deposit a trustworthy partner. It cannot guarantee that a manager will not quietly punish someone for taking leave. It cannot make grandparents live nearby. It cannot create an extra hour between daycare closing and the end of a shift. It cannot divide night feedings, school pickups, housework, and emotional care equally inside a home. And it cannot instantly create confidence that housing, employment, healthcare, and the future will remain stable for the next 20 years. These are not arguments against family support. They reveal how much family support actually has to hold. The United Nations Population Fund surveyed people across 14 countries for its 2025 report. Nearly 1 in 5 believed they would not be able to have the number of children they wanted. Financial pressure was the most common barrier, affecting the desired family size of 39%. But people also described insecure work, housing, lack of a suitable partner, unequal care burdens, health concerns, and fear about the future. Some people do not want children. Some want one. Some want several. The problem begins when people cannot build the family they themselves would choose. That is different from a generation simply rejecting parenthood. It is a story about adult life becoming provisional. Temporary contracts. Temporary apartments. Delayed marriage. Carefully protected careers. Families spread across cities. 2 incomes already fully occupied by the cost of one household. Then parenthood arrives as the least temporary decision imaginable. This is the strange position governments now face. They are trying to answer a demographic emergency through millions of private decisions made late at night, between 2 tired people at a kitchen table. The tools can help. But the decision is not only financial. It is emotional, relational, logistical, and irreversible. For the couple in Seoul, the question is no longer, can we afford a baby this year? It is, can our work survive a child? Can our relationship absorb the pressure? Can one of us slow down without falling behind? Will there be anyone to call when the plan fails? Can we promise stability to someone when our own stability still feels unfinished? This is why later can feel safer than either yes or no. Later protects the possibility. It keeps the imagined child somewhere in the future, where the apartment is larger, work is kinder, help is closer, and the timing finally makes sense. But the future does not always arrange itself that way. Eventually, later can become never, even when never was not the original plan. Governments are right to make children more affordable. The mistake would be believing affordability ends with a payment. A child is not a one-time purchase. It is a long-term reorganization of time, work, love, risk, and responsibility. The payment is temporary. The life change is permanent. So the deepest question is not how much a country will pay people to have babies. It is whether that country can help build an adult life with enough stability, time, support, and trust to hold one.